Hey guys, Josh from the Redneck Homestead channel. Thanks for joining. Today, and for the next few days, we're going to be working up here on several projects. But the main and most pressing project is making sure that we reinforce the foundation of the cabin. The cabin has been fine, actually, sitting on the 6 rocks, big huge rocks that it's been sitting on since we built it almost a year ago. And believe it or not, it hasn't even settled that much. It's almost still on perfect level, but I am fully aware that we just threw the thing together. We did it under pretty rugged, wintry conditions, and we didn't have a lot of options at the time. But now we have some options, and we're just going to reinforce it. It's not a proper foundation, and I'm fully aware of that, but we have what we have to work with, and we're going to reinforce everything with concrete block. We're going to dig down a couple of feet, and we're going to build some cribs out of concrete block. So stay along for the ride, and we'll get a lot of work done this weekend. Well, we got here, me, Rob, and Rick, we got here last night at about 10 o'clock. Just in the headlights, this is what we found. We found the beginning of a lawn that was seeded a couple of weeks ago. And it's not really growing in as fast as I had hoped. We didn't pick through all the field stones and get it all cleaned out, and that's fine. This is not going to be any sort of a food plot or a planting ground. This seed here is primarily to make sure there's not a washout on the hill. And so we're gonna need to overseed this again a little later into the fall. It was a little early to even be seeding in the first place. But it's coming in. It's not great, but it's coming in. We've got some real strong tufts here and there. And hey Rick, you think you can get that fire going in the rain?
No problem.
Yeah, all right, we got a Boy Scout over there. Meanwhile, we got Rob shuttling the concrete blocks, the final load of concrete blocks up to the cabin, and off we go. All right, for the cabin cribbing project, Ricky's dug a couple of pits here that will accommodate 2 blocks by 2 blocks by however many high we need to go. And ideally we'd be down 4 feet, and we're not down 4 feet. And I'd say we're down about 2-ish. And 4 feet would put us below the frost line. But I'm gonna take a risk here, and it's no bigger of a risk. Actually, it's a much less risk than this was in the very first place. Putting the cabin on these big boulders was a pretty big risk. And there was not a lot of frost fluctuation over the last around 11 months or 10 months since we put this thing in. So we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna be completely fine. And we're really gonna over reinforce this thing. He's down well into the clay here, and I think by the time he's done on this one, he'll probably be close to 3 feet down. So it'll be okay, and it's going to be added measure of security. And we'll keep you updated as we get the blocks in here, and then we'll start stacking them and use the hydraulic jack to bring the cabin up to a perfect level, and we'll shim it off, and everything will be good. He's doing that. I'm going to build a little lean-to on the back of the outhouse for the generator. I don't expect to use the generator much here in real life, but it's nice to have it, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 feet away from the cabin and enclosed so the rain stays off it, and so that the noise of it running is not too obtrusive. Well, Mama joined us today, and we have lots and lots of good food. We've got Italian sausage, steak tips, cheeseburgers, potatoes, summer squash, lots of fresh vegetables. And what are you making up now, Mama?
I'm going to do a vegetable medley.
Yeah?
Peppers, onions, baby potatoes, carrots.
In your state-of-the-art kitchen here?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the running water.
We don't need that.
It's running just down the side of the mountain. What a day, though, huh? It's turned out to be unbelievable.
Beautiful.
It was a disaster earlier. It poured. Now it's like, I don't know, close to 80. And look at this. I mean, look at this picture. Unbelievable. Well, out back we have Rob and Rick, each wielding their own chainsaw, clearing up what will become the backyard, I guess you might call it. We're not going to go crazy back here. We're not stumping anything. We're just going to clear through all the brush, get it down to earth, and have kind of a natural landscape back here. I think it's going to be pretty cool. Might as well show you a short little project that I did this afternoon. I built that little lean-to, under which I'll just put the generator. Just keep it away from the cabin. Nothing too extraordinary. We need to cut a lot of firewood for this winter. And thankfully we have a lot of firewood to cut. A lot of these trees are coming down. And not sure that they'll be ready by this fall. But there is a lot of standing dead material. That should be good. Listen to the harmony of those two saws. Talk about a beautiful scene. The most beautiful girl in the world, my little pride and joy, Joshua, all against the backdrop of this, while sitting in an excavator. Perfect. Alright guys, so we're about 150 feet behind the cabin, and things are pretty well cleared to my liking. This is all going to be seeded here, and all of this over here has been thinned out, and we're going to leave it with the earth contours. We're going to, obviously pull all the brush out, get it down to the earth, and just leave the natural contours here behind the cabin. Up here, we're pushing all of the brush into a big pile, and this winter we're going to have a monster of a bonfire. Burn that all up pretty good. And we'll see about working our way around this corner here. It gets kind of moist down here. I think there's some convergence of runoff here, or divergence I should say. It runs off from a single spring head higher up on the property and finds its way along many paths downhill. What do you think, guys? Hey, want to tell everybody what you just drove? You just drove the excavator? Did you have fun? Get that out of your mouth, please. Get that out of your mouth. Thank you, buddy. We got the camp chef over here. What you cooking, Mama? Sausages? Yummy. Thank you. Thank you for cooking. You can't pull that thing? You can't stop it? Atta boy. Well guys, we're on day 3 of 4 and the progress is immense. It's really amazing the difference between having one person here, and then 2 people here, and now 3 people here working. And Rob is the brush monster here, the brush hog. We're trying to be a little bit more intentional and a little less sloppy with the brush removal. We don't want to completely destroy and disrupt everything. I like these cleaner edges as you get into the woods here, although we've thinned this out. I don't like what Wrangler Star calls the logging of the apocalypse, where it's just a total disaster. With some manicuring, this is really coming along nicely. I'd say our yard is in its entirety, from all the way back here to all the way down, is probably like 3 acres. Yeah, I'd say about 3 acres, maybe a little less. It's spectacular to come back here and then to look at that view just pop. For those of you who have been watching the video since the beginning, it's different perspective here, huh? Different vantage point. Especially that video where we were walking out through the woods. This was all woods before. Well, if we were to stop right here, I would say I'd be very satisfied with the progress. But we have yet another day and a half, well, the rest of today, and it's only around 11 o'clock in the morning. We work till like 6:30, 7 o'clock. And then all day tomorrow, last couple of hours involves putting everything away and getting ready to lock this place up. This place has taken on an entirely new identity. I mean, this is unrecognizable. When I first bought the property a year and a half ago, the whole thing looked like this. Now this area was a little soft, and it's still really soft. So I'm gonna wait for it to dry out a little bit. But we've got a kind of a rough and dirty French drain around the house here. It doesn't need to look pretty right now. It just needs to work. And I believe it will. As we walk up along, just to give you an orientation, the cabin's right there. We were standing over there originally. So this is the drain. Now this area here has been very soft. Actually, it's been really soft all along. The fact that I unearthed some of the soft material here, this clay was yesterday, it was extremely soft. It's starting to dry out. There's not a lot of water percolating to the top, which indicates that it's probably not as saturated at that layer. Like I said, this is real dirty, but functional. And it's designed just to catch all this water here coming off the mountain. Instead of sending it directly down to the cabin, into what I can comfortably call the backyard now, it's gonna send it right down this little path. That is, unless Rob has something else in mind. Haha. All right, so a little further up, you can see there's some standing water here. And that wasn't here earlier, and I don't believe, oh, actually, it probably is surface water that's finding its path to the lowest point. The only reason I say that is you can look a little higher up right there, and there's a little puddle. And this is just one of the little fingers of the spring, which Springhead is way back there somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen here. This is just the rough cut, I guess you might say. Rob really wants to get a lot of this stuff smoothed out and ready for seed. I don't really know if that's going to be possible today. I really don't. Thank you so much for joining on this video here. It's kind of a hodgepodge of little segments, and I'm finding it increasingly difficult to video while I'm trying to actually get a lot of work done. If I have a real project and real goals and milestones that I want to accomplish, I'm finding it more and more distracting to do video, but I love to do the video. I love to document it for you guys and for my kids and for me to look back on as well. But maybe it's not quite as cohesive as some of my earlier videos, but that's all right. I'd rather keep making videos than to burn out like a lot of people do. You know, invariably there will be the critics who say this and that and this and that, and that's fine, whatever. In fact, we've had kind of an insurgence of interesting comments, some of which are uncharacteristically negative, which is fine. I just basically think it's miserable people who are trying to channel their misery on somebody who's trying to live happily, and all the other people that are joining and encouraging and all trying to learn something together. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what keeps me coming back, and I hope that's what keeps you coming back. So don't let the haters stop you from doing your thing. If you enjoyed this video, appreciate giving us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. You know what to do. We'll keep the videos coming, all right? Thanks again.